Hi, this is Sarah from sarayip.com, Facebook, The Numbers Queen, and Instagram, sarayip1111, with a super special being, Jessica Reagan from the 1111 movement on Facebook, 163.9 thousand members, one of the biggest, if not it is one of the biggest, isn't it? 1111 related groups, definitely the biggest one, I think, which is Australian based.
Yeah.
So grateful to have Jessica on the call. So thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And it's been a long time, I think, since I've been in your group, but I've always been very impressed with how you conducted it. So Jessica does some cool stuff, like you take some time off. Every month you take a few days off, you have volunteers. There's a lot really positive energy in the group.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got that well-managed energy. So how do you like to describe yourself when people ask you, who are you, what do you do, what do you love,
So first and foremost, I am a mother to two beautiful children. And say for the past 5 years or so, I've been working in the community services sector with beautiful souls with disabilities. And I feel that's where I shine the most in work, is supporting these beautiful people and experiencing so much together. And we really just have a beautiful time together. And that's been, my career. And I've just finished studying, which will get me into university next year to start hopefully studying psychology and going down that path.
Yeah,
maybe.
perfect.
Or counselling.
Yeah.
Because I've always been the type of person that wanted to help people, and I can relate to many of their issues because I've myself been in their situations before, ranging from A to Z. A lot of different things have happened in my journey, in my 38 years and nearly 39 years. So I feel I love to support people and just give back, because my life, is magical, and it's nice to feel that love, when I'm working, and to be out, I feel really connected to my soul's mission. It's not just numbers, it's being out in the community with real people and having real conversations and sharing beautiful moments together. So
wow.
And I'm an aspiring numerologist, so I have studied under Catherine Kinney. I'm currently in connection with Tom Eckert, if you've heard of him, doing one of his little courses at the moment, and then my next one will be with Sarah Yip.
Oh, very funny.
And I feel that's important to have 3 different guides, teachers, just to figure out my style and find the synchronicities and all, and really come up with my own, style to how to do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I can feel that happening even as we're talking. So, Mum, you work with people with special needs, budding numerologist, and you also run this group. And how long have you been running the group?
So I created it on September 28th, 2015.
Wow, and it's really taken off like a rocket, hasn't it, in only 6 years?
Yeah, we had our peak really in 2016, 2017, and we've slowly we've gone up, and that now they're starting to, I guess, accounts, people are leaving Facebook. It's starting to go down.
The winds are changing.
That's right. Yeah, but so 6 years and about 160,000 people. So the engagement, it varies. Some days there'll be 27,000 people in, which is a recurring number, or some days there'll be 86,000. It just depends on the energy, the content, and how active the admin really is at the time. Because like you said, we do have a break every month for 3 days, and that's just to recharge our batteries, get off social media as much as we can.
Yeah.
And work on our own projects and creations, which is all for, ultimately, the goal is to channel it into the 1111 movement eventually.
So it's, Jessica, it's a bit like running a small principality or country, isn't it?
Yeah, some countries are smaller.
It's true, isn't it? And
yeah.
I mean, when I was tuning into your energy and we talked about it, I felt like when I looked into your energy, I could see with that little sort of Asian farmer hat, like maybe like a peasant farmer who's very, very good at growing things, and then I guess somehow wending their way into this king position where people basically know you in that group as the leader of the group. And then that peasant king energy of having your feet on the ground, your head in the sky, and a lot of compassion for everyone in between. It feels like very powerful and very broad, like your energy is very encompassing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's taken a lot of life lessons and time to get there, but yes, that resonates. Thank you.
And it's so sweet, isn't it? Like video calls are not like a common thing for you to do, and I'm really honored actually that you jumped on today. You're very much like behind the scenes, creating magic type person. You do so much that's probably invisible.
Yeah. And that's
very heartfelt person.
Yeah, that's just how it's been. And this is step one today. And obviously I'm jumping in the deep end like I did a few years ago. But this is the first of many, because I will be starting to do this with my own admin and also my tribe and the members of the movement.
Happy to be getting you over the line. And,
thank you.
I have to tell you, that's actually a bit of a theme with my interview subjects.
Yep.
I get this little voice in my head and it's like, this person's ready. I'll be like, oh, I was trying to avoid that. I'm like, here I am.
Yeah.
Good morning. So you started seeing 1111 some years ago, and actually from what we were saying before the call, it was around your life path turning point. So in numerology, we can add up the date of birth left to right and get our life path number. This is a particular system, and your life path number is a 27/9, also called the old soul or the global thinker. Looks like a person with a big head thinking like Origin. 9's really where the buck stops, obviously the highest number out of the single digits. So it's interesting. I think you mentioned you were starting to see numbers around that turning point of 27.
Yes, yeah. So 1111 started to appear pretty much straight after my daughter was born in 2008. However, I didn't take any notice of it until the end of 2009, and I was just turning 27. So that was a really powerful time because I started to acknowledge it, and then that's where everything began. So
your daughter maybe brought a bit of a squad?
Yes, absolutely. I believe that.
And so I see 1111 often as this assistance that comes in, often in the form of a child, a soulmate, a business, often all of those things.
Yeah.
And it's just creating this amazing team, this amazing lineage, and it's like a type of protection, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it really does appear mainly to people who have a lot of star energy or starseed energy, and we're very prone to burning out.
Yeah.
And without, I guess, reasons to pace ourselves or to check in, I think there's probably, quite a few who I don't know how to put this, self-extinguish, whether they just, run themselves ragged or they stop, doing what they're best at, and they just kind of float around from that point on. Yeah. So hopefully if people are watching this and they can relate at some level, check out our work, because 1111 is talking about the power of that team.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspired you to start the group back in 2015? What happened?
Yep.
Was there like a moment in time the idea came to you like a little birdie, or did it kind of like peck at your window for a while?
So it's a pretty magical story. So the 27th of September 2015, I found a video on YouTube of John St. Julian, and John St. Julian is one of the most incredible people who followed 1111 to Tanzania, and he created charities and he's helped so many people. And so I had been seeing 1111 for years and years, and I hadn't really connected with many people in the physical.
Yeah.
And there was information out there, but there wasn't enough that was making me feel like I was a part of a global team or something like that. Yeah. So when I saw John's video, I just went, wow. And it just really, really affected me in the most like magnificent way.
Yeah.
So when I went to bed that night, I had the most incredible experience. I was half asleep, half awake, meditative state. I hadn't been meditating, but I was in that vibe. And I opened my eyes, but my body was still asleep, because I don't suffer from it, sleep paralysis, and that's how I enter lucid dreams. When I finally let go and I feel like my rib cages are being pulled open and things like that, I go into a lucid dream. But this night there was 4 beings, and they were blue, around my bed, and they spoke to me telepathically, and I understood their language. I knew everything they were saying, and it wasn't English. And so it was obviously a connection from another life, another galaxy, another place that, we're from. And so they spoke to me, and then they even gave me the name of the Facebook group. So the next morning I woke up and I created a group called the 1111 Movement, and then that's it.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, those blue people do get around. A lot of the people who see 1111 at some point will look into starseeds, aliens, all these types of things. And I've been writing recently on the fear of ghosts and the fear of aliens. And I see the fear of ghosts as that fear of the past coming back for you. But actually, when you think about it, it's essential to learn from the past. Otherwise, we're just going to spend 80% of our time, chasing our tails.
Yeah.
The fear of the past for me is a lot to do with that fear of the ancestors. The ones who've gone before. But actually, when you work with them, they're so helpful, because in spirit form, of course, they've lost a lot of the emotional charge.
Yeah.
Of course, aliens for me is that fear of the children.
Because right.
A little baby growing in the womb, it totally looks like an alien.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sort of humanizes as it grows. And I think, children, especially, I've got an 8-month-old who's practically reading books and wants to be in all readings and stuff.
Yeah, wow.
Totally baby boss. I look at the kids today, and they totally relate to this idea of aliens and coming to Earth, because they literally just arrived. They made a conscious choice to come out of whatever you call it, heaven or life between lives, to be here.
Yeah.
So, I find people who are a little bit more playful, creative. Maybe there's a little bit more openness to this kind of energy, even if you have a different word. Like I said, star seeds is a kind of nice, non-confronting one.
Yeah.
Star people, perhaps.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you might be part star person, part old soul. You're very you've been everywhere.
Yeah. I sing that song all the time. I've been everywhere, man. Yeah.
Spiritual tour guide. I like it. It's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in a person.
Yes. True.
I'll just start calling you 42. Long, very long, nerdy. Don't worry about it.
No, it's fine. I love it.
Okay, so thanks for that. Look, I actually started the Numbers Queen pretty similarly. I woke up and I just knew. It was after I'd been to one of those book workshops, and someone said, how do you get a following? And the person said, you just got to start one person at a time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just groaned, and they said, oh, that's too hard. And I felt really excited by that, because I thought that's something I can do. I can totally build an audience one person at a time, because my background is fundraising.
Yeah.
That one conversation at a time, and it snowballs. So I wanted to briefly talk about the 1111 awakening process, and I put the link to the blog in this video post. But for me, there's definitely been these 4 very distinct stages. The first stage, and it's a lot like relationships. The first stage is you're looking and the universe is looking.
Yeah.
You catch each other's eye and you start seeing these numbers, and you're like, well, that's cute. Well, that's nice. Take a screenshot, but nothing serious.
Yeah.
And there's no real need to change your behavior. It's just like, oh, this is fun. I like it. And then I think there's that second stage, and this is where it gets a little bit uncomfortable of, oh, wait a minute. I think this is for me. I think I call this in. Is it following me? Is it stalking me? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets to the point where I call it the terror barrier between the second and third stage, where there's that day you wake up and you're like, I am crazy.
Yeah.
I have lost the plot. Everywhere I look, there's numbers. They're following me. No one believes me.
Yes.
I've become one of those people that I used to judge. Do you remember that moment? Because I had that moment in the shower, and I still remember this split in my soul of like, do I go with this, or do I say no thanks, not this lifetime?
Yeah.
Can you remember those moments when you felt you might be a little crazy?
Oh, absolutely. I even went to the doctor because I did. I spoke to my family about it, and there was just they weren't seeing it. How do you explain this to someone, that's not seeing the synchronicities and the magic and the connections and stuff? And because I was like, what is happening to me? What is happening to me?
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor and I told her that I kept seeing 1111, and so she prescribed me antipsychotics.
Wow.
So then I know, and so then years later, I spoke to her about it again, and I said, you prescribed me these antipsychotics. And I said, what, why? And she said, I thought you meant that you kept looking at the clock and it would have been like, say, 9:12 or 9:18, and you were only seeing 11:11.
Yeah.
And she thought I was perhaps having psychosis, or
Delusion.
there was other.
Delusion.
Yeah. So I knew, like I took some of them, and I noticed how my whole entire life was just falling apart because I was numb and I couldn't see the magic anymore.
Yeah.
So it wasn't long that I did that. But and then I said, just get out Google now and Google it. And she Googled it and she went, whoa, is this what you're talking about? And I said, yeah.
It's
a
living thing with lots of friends.
But still in my physical reality, I always attract people that see 1111. Like at the end of the conversation, I'll say, hey, do you see 1111? They're like, yes. But still, I still have people in my surroundings that they still don't see it. And it's just, I can't understand how I can be so closely connected to certain people and they don't get it. And it's almost like, I bet they do, but they're just too like, like they would maybe think I'd say, I told you so. But I reckon they do see it all the time, and now they can't admit to it because they judge me about it.
I like you so much. Your passion is just so contagious, and I love it. And I share your enthusiasm and puzzlement, but it has to be said that spirit speaks different languages, and numerology appeals to people who have a respect for numbers.
Yeah.
So people where maybe an animal messenger or a feather or a goosebumps, it wouldn't be enough for them to believe in spirit.
Yeah.
They will send the numerology after. And so for some people, I guess it's not necessary. They already get the message. And for other people, perhaps they're some sort of teacher in your life.
Yeah, for sure. They are. And I must say, in regards to the numbers, I've always been that type of person that remembers every single phone number ever since I was little.
Yes.
512-488.
Had the wiring for it. That's
for sure.
I can feel that. And when I was a little girl, I used to sit there doing short sums in my head. I would always add numbers across, and I'd be able to do them like lightning. And I thought it's because a lot of my family are in small business and we're probably good with an abacus. But years later, I realized that was the life path calculations. I'm just
I was
installed with that. So amazing how early it begins. So that second stage is where you start to really question your sanity. And in fact, you'd almost do anything to just make it stop. And I remember actually having a few conversations and saying, just stop. It's not a joke. Someone's watching me. I just need to close my eyes. And that's often when people find my website, and probably when they find your group. And then, I mean, all things going well, hopefully at some point they touch their toes into the third stage, which I find is the rewards. And it's you commit to the path and you say, look, let's go out. Let's go all out. Let's really go into it. Let's have a good look. And even let's start practicing some of these ideas, because essentially 1111 is a stream of consciousness that will bring those winds of change. It always brings ideas. And so it's like, oh, I've had that idea 20, 30 times. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You start to get the fun and the joy and the people, and it doesn't feel so lonely and terrifying. So third stage is, of course, when you start talking about it, usually you flip. Usually there's, because often numbers people see 1111, they often have a career where it's quite structured or logical or even publicly approved of. And then once the 1111 comes in, they start to develop these other sides of themselves, creative, spiritual, mystical. And they often come out, so to speak, about the numbers. They often change their diets. That's really common. They often, have breakups with certain people and they meet others. So that third stage can be very fertile and productive.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like to live there, and that's completely fine. And then fourth stage, I think, is when I guess you make it your mission to actually teach the language.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's necessary to do 4th stage. I think it's pretty stressful at times. But I think I step into it when I do my classes on 1111 or maybe
Yeah.
videos like this. And that's kind of my experience. Can you relate to some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. A lot of my part of my journey, so just to go on with what you're saying before about the maths, when I was a teenager, I would do maths for fun. On the weekend, I would get out my textbook and if I was doing numbers, I was happy. And then a lot of like in these stages and steps, I would be like decoding a lot. So I would even rearrange. I would write down my name, then I'd exchange it to numbers, and then I'd flip it. Excuse me, I'm just getting a phone call. Do you mind just pausing for a moment?
What I'll do is I'll just pause. Okay, so we're just back because Jessica had a call, it's so interesting, isn't it, that by actually perhaps scheduling this call and bringing together our combined forces, perhaps it's going to actually catalyze a lot of changes in both our lives.
Yeah.
A lot of the 1111 magic happens when we talk to and meet each other and bring our life experiences together. And I think that's why when people are on the internet just Googling, they're not getting the real effect of it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's literally saying you're part of a lineage, you're part of a group. You need to get back into that sort of circle or, energy.
Yeah, that's right. And that's another, just to go off on one tangent quickly, that's the whole reason about the 1111 movement is so special and important, is because it's gathering us all in one place. And I was hoping that people would take the initiative to connect with others, and which they have been doing. But I noticed it started to fall away. So I've just created a Soul Tribe group chat where there's 20 of us all over the world and we're connecting that way. And that's going to hopefully be the beginning of something really special, because there was 270 people that wanted to be a part of it. But I just have to figure out how I'm going to manage that, because there's going to be so many different rooms. And the ultimate goal is so people feel connected. So the magic starts to intensify in their lives. They connect with Soul Tribe. They meet in the physical, which 4 of them have already. Yeah. And that's where the magic begins. But to go back to where we were, so one of the stages I was in was uncovering aspects, magical, mystical things about my own life. Like I said, with my name, I discovered Gematria. So when I discovered Gematria, I found out that Jessica Regan equals 666 in Jewish, I believe. And that's how I found you, because I Googled 666. And then it came. Of
course, the number for next year is opening your third eye.
Yeah. So we can and connecting all the dots, and that's why it's so important to connect the Soul Tribe, because we all have a piece of the puzzle, and when we share our wisdom and knowledge together and what works for us and things, we put the puzzle together and we figure out what we're here to do, and essentially that's the ascension.
A lot of people who see 1111 have master numbers in their numerology somewhere, 11, 22, 33, 44, if not in their life path, in their name, in their full charts. And and they are here for that kind of double life. Like there's so much they want to get out of this lifetime, which means we have to be more effective with our time, energy, and money, which means learning from others, from people who are really willing to share, who are in a similar mindset and heart set. I was going to mention, so you're a 27/9 old soul. We know that at 27 you started seeing numbers, which obviously is clearly part of your purpose. Particularly the 1111 calling card, which is that hello, you're ready for the next level of consciousness. The matrix wants to have a chat. So what happened around your childhood turning point of 9?
So I called my dad for this just to make sure I had the times right. So when I was 9, so my dad was in the Air Force, and so we traveled with him to Tyndall, and it's an air base in the Northern Territory in Catherine. So I had gone, and this is so interesting how it's all connected. I'm just putting this together now. I went to a Catholic school. So I'd gone from public system into a Catholic school in the Northern Territory. Anyway, so it's a bit of a funny story. I was 9 years old, and going from, Newcastle weather up to 40, 45 degree temperature every day. It's so hot up there. On the bus, it was just like my life I was on an alien planet. But anyway, so what it did was introduce me to someone that's walked by my side for 30 years,
Amazing.
who doesn't put up with my bullshit, excuse my language. She always tells me how it is. You know, she's very straightforward with me, which I need. She's really grounding. She's a life path 3.
Oh, that's so good. I was going to say, there's a beautiful saying, if you have one true friend, you have more than your share.
Yeah. So she's been here the whole time, but how we met was we were playing marbles.
Yeah.
And I won her bonker.
Oh my God.
But she
my
was.
son's been drawing marble books all week, and he just keeps writing these stories about marbles.
Wow, interesting.
That's cool. I used to love marbles too, but I remember losing a marble, and then that's it. I was out.
You lost your marbles.
Never wanted to lose again.
Yeah, so I ended up winning her bonker, and so she was the school leader. You didn't mess with Kate. She was in charge of everyone. Anyway, so it turns out her mum was my mum's boss at work.
Wow.
So my mum was a nurse, and her mum was the head nurse.
Yeah.
And so I came home from school all upset because she wanted to fight me for this bonker, and I wasn't going to give it back because I won it. And anyway, so our mums organised a play date for us to connect, and then we were like that. And then we had so many experiences with snakes, with ride-on lawnmowers, with just like an alien planet. Like, she opened up my whole entire world, and that was when I was 9.
Oh, that's so extraordinary. And yeah, thanks so much for sharing. In numerology, 3 and 6 do sit at the top of the grid, so they're both very cerebral. And 3's got that communication ability, so to bring out the parts, the things that no one wants to talk about or admit to. And then, of course, you as the 9 is helping people to let go, because the number is the point of the journey where often you get stuck, but also where you can teach.
Mm-hmm.
3 is a lot to do with bringing the team together, family healing, inner child healing,
Yep.
playfulness. And then, of course, the 9 is literally giving it to the universe, working with the galactics. I mean, it's very big picture stuff. And 9,
Yeah.
I've got 2 9 children, and they look straight through people. And it's the most unnerving thing in the world. They look at you and you feel like they can see everything you've ever done.
Yeah.
So, 9s, they're good to have around. Obviously, you being one of them. I've got a few more questions. So, what are your plans with the group? Obviously, the group's been going up and down. We know that Facebook's about to change its name. All kinds of energy things are happening.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and you're allowed to say it's secret squirrel business too.
No. It's all good. So I feel that, like I said before, the movement has peaked up to that stage of evolution for the 1111 movement. It's got beautiful people in there posting and sharing and things like that. But now we feel like we're ready to take it to the next stage. And when I say we, I mean my admin team.
Yeah.
And so they're from all different parts of the world, all around the world, but they've been such a great support. And when we get together in our private chats and stuff, when we create together, things are just really evolving really rapidly. So at the moment, we're working on the 1111 Movement podcast, which will then, we'll be interviewing members about their 1111 stories. And so that's one of the podcasts. There's a couple in the works. And so then that will lead on to into video visual kind of thing. Yeah. And we've got some incredible creators in the team. And so I just feel, and with doing the numerology, I'll be hopefully doing readings and hopefully coaching or some programs. I'm just taking it to the next step to reach as many people as we possibly can in an affordable way.
That's a very 9 thing to say. 9s are very much about like mass communication, because I'm not sure if you know the system that I use. The 9 life path is often starting to complete their lifetimes here. So they're very into, as I mentioned, efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really noticed that with my little kids. They're very much like, hey man, this is my last lifetime. I want caviar. I want organic blueberries. I want macadamia butter, not peanut butter, mom. And
wow.
It's like, we want to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. And in speaking of that, I've had connections with a lot of people that say this is my last run, this is my last lifetime. That saddens me a little bit, because as much as what's going on in the world is terrifying in some ways, it's also a catalyst for awakening. And I feel that we're okay, we're safe, we're all here together, that there's going to be some really big lessons. And I feel if we keep thinking that this is going to be our last time on earth and we need to really start enjoying ourselves. And it's hard to enjoy ourselves when there's so much, sadness and fear going on. But for me, I always see the silver lining with that. I know that it's going to be, like I said, a catalyst. It's going to be a point of awakening for many, and for me, when I had my awakening when I was 27, started seeing the numbers, I was also going through dark night of the soul, rock bottom. I was in a relationship that, we were going through issues and stuff, and I was dealing with issues with my family. And so what's happening for people is an awakening, and rock bottom for me, that's how I, started to really understand what was happening to me. So yeah, that was another tangent. I warned you about my tangents.
No, it's perfect. And I think there's a level of you that guides you, and there's maybe still like a healing happening between you. It's like this beautiful like trust that's maybe solidifying just, over time.
I
was going to say, so I had a big breakup on 11/11/11, which got me into all this work. I never thought I'd survive it, and it's hard to even believe it actually happened today 10 years ago. I just was on the floor. It was the house, the career, the partner, the baby dreams. It was a complete wipeout.
That's amazing.
What was interesting about this is that some years before I'd been in the tsunami, also a complete wipeout. So perhaps I'm a little bit of a wipeout survivor type person. Worst case survival guide, me. And I think that's why I can sincerely do the work I'm doing. When I look at people and I'm like, you don't need anything to start again.
Yeah.
It's a decision, you get up, you find some clothes to put back on.
Yeah.
You borrow a phone to call for help, and you're back.
Yeah.
So just the simplicity of recovery in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Last couple of things. So can you let us know what's the Facebook group's name, link, if people want to follow?
So it's called the 11/11 movement. So there's a couple of 11/11 movements, the 11/11 movements. We've had some people.
There's a couple.
Yeah. So when I archived the group, I was contacted by hundreds of people to say, "What are you doing?
Amazing.
We need this group. Please don't keep like, what are you doing?" And so I had.
When did you archive? It was pretty recent, wasn't it?
So it was May or June 2020.
Yeah.
And then I reopened.
The world was going through so much then, and we all needed to kind of go to ground for a bit.
Absolutely. No, that was my guidance, and I needed to step away and figure out who I really am in this story. And because parts of my 3D world were starting to crumble because I was focusing my attention too much in the 4D, 5D or in the movement, trying to help others. And then my children, might have missed out on some story times. And I was, just really wondering, what am I doing?
And it's got to be said, like, what's so extraordinary about your work is that you actually do all of this for free, and you have done for many, many years. And it's people who have the energy or the capacity to even pull that off. And, maybe that'll be changing, but it's extraordinary. It really is something to be recognized.
Yeah. Thank you. So it has. I some days I've been there for 6 hours moderating until I changed the rules, or not the rules. I started to do some healings on myself, the movement, and just set the intention that we weren't going to allow the negative vibes as much in there. Yeah. So I archived it, and I had a year, pretty much a year, 11 months away. And then some magical people appeared in my life and synchronicities, and then I came back with a bang.
And I seem to remember because we did a reading for you that did coincide with your personal year stuff. But I was just going to ask, so when you archived the group, a lot of people contacted you, and is it that they then set up like separate groups?
Their own, yeah.
Okay, so I guess if people want to identify which group it is, it's just through the name and probably also through the number of members that you have. They'll know which one.
Also there's a if you can see my beautiful picture that one of our members, this is going to be my book cover eventually one day. So it's a tree with keys, 22 keys, which is 11/11, and they're all the different colors of the chakra of the rainbow. And the tree looks like hands as well, holding out, and it's as
above, so below. I love it.
Yeah,
It's a lot like a brain as well. If you turn
I'll
your
send
head a
you
little
an
bit,
image of it. I'll send you an
turn
image
around.
with your post when you post this,
Yeah,
so they
thank
can
you.
see the intricacies of it all, because it's so
amazing.
beautiful.
It's
And
totally great.
there's 144 keys on that one
Amazing.
that are hanging as the leaves, but in the movement, the logo's got 22 keys.
Well, at some point, I guess you'll have to start the 12-12 movement.
I already made it. I already created it years
Funny.
ago. Waiting.
Hilarious. That's the next stage once people have refined a lot of their personal awakening. And
Yeah,
that ability to go out as pairs and things. Because you know, my husband and I, we do readings together. I could never have imagined that when I first met him doing readings on TV. But it's so powerful to have even one person who's totally got your back. It makes me think of that Star Wars movie where she talks about the dyad, and they've got the two people fighting, and you know, they've got their backs to back and they're completely unbeatable.
Yes,
For me, that's the 12-12 energy, and it's the next level of surrender and the next level of symphony, I suppose, because there's
I love that.
rhythm and dance that happens with it, and there's a lot of pleasure. I really enjoy the surprise of having other people involved.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. And that's what I've called in. So when I've opened up again, I've called in the most real, authentic, kind spirits. I've got another 9. He's like working closely with me and with the podcast. He's going to be
probably
co-host.
Probably worked with you before somewhere else. Hey,
I feel that for sure. As soon as we connected, it was like we know each other from somewhere for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to creating the podcast with him, Colby, and also other people of the admin team as well, so we can cover as many 1111 stories, because once we find the similar pattern and we can have it on video, the proof and stuff, then we can create a documentary to show this is like maybe in the year or 2 years or 3 years, you never know, but we can show how it's all connected. Everyone pretty much has the same kind of hero's journey in this, and that's really what it is. It's everyone's on their own hero's journey. And this little 1111 cosmic alarm that we've set for ourselves many lifetimes, or like last lifetime, that time, like when we're in heaven, you know, we don't know, we're somewhere. We're connected to everything, and when we set that alarm, we knew that when we saw it, we'd remember.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And for me, as soon as I saw it and started getting into numerology, I loved the fact that I could then explain the individual codes, and it wasn't just angel numbers. That's for some people and not for others. So if you just sort of sum up, it's been amazing to finally get a chance to talk to you in depth about the 1111 movement. Which is, as I mentioned, one of the biggest groups, especially Australian based, for this type of work. And I want to thank you also for always supporting my work.
You're welcome.
We haven't met in person. It feels like just a matter of time.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that.
We've both got hilarious psychic children bossing around.
Yeah, we do.
So for all of those of you who think you are going crazy, check out Jessica's group, check out my page, sarayip.com, and I think you'll find you flip into third stage and you never look back. And it'll be more like a trampoline and less like a sense of a car falling on your head, which is fairly painful.
Yeah, and you find more and more people just like you who are on similar paths, and
everywhere I go, it's just it's the most. I always wanted this as a child. I always wanted to be able to go into the world with something that was an icebreaker, and this has been the most powerful tool for me. And I wanted to finish with one of my odder 1111 stories. So I often got ideas, and that's part of the 1111 energy. They shop ideas around all of us. I was to write this particular type of introductory 1111 book, and I started it, and then I guess I chickened out. I had to put it on hold for mental health reasons and stuff. So I went to Sydney, and I was like, I just want to give up this whole 1111 business. I don't want anything to do with it. It's like it's becoming my ex. I'm deleting its number. I walked into St George Bank at Chatswood, and I lived in Brisbane, so this was a really long way from home. And I'm standing there in the queue. Have I told you this story?
You might have, but tell me again.
I haven't told many people, actually. I'm standing in the queue, and then this man just starts yelling out 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11.
Oh my goodness.
In the bank.
Wow.
And then I hid behind this pot plant, trying desperately to just make it go away.
Wow.
Talking about 22, 22, 22. And I went, oh my God. And then the security guard came to get him.
Yeah.
I knew I had to do something quickly. So I just stepped in straight away. They put him in the bank manager's office, and I'm the type of person I would never go into a bank manager's office, like super hierarchical upbringing, would never do that. But I just barged in.
Wow.
And I said, let me handle this. And I
Wow.
don't even know where that voice came from, although now that I'm a mother of 3 boys, it was that voice.
Yeah,
The lioness. I was just like, don't hurt him. And I said, you need to let me talk to this man. And they're just like, yes, please.
Yeah.
And he started telling me about all the numbers, and his mother had died, and he saw all this. And I just walked out of the bank. And
There's
I
your
knew that I had to
confirmation.
continue with the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, every time I would call the bank, that would happen. They would see I was a psychic. They'd say, oh, do you know why I see 1111? And
Oh my God, I love those phone calls.
they would always just get me when I was just about to give up, and they would come back in. So that's one of my hundreds of wacky 1111 stories.
Yeah.
A lot of them I have photos and videos of. Do you have one that you wanted to share at all before we wind up? It's okay if not.
Oh wow, put me on the spot. Every time.
Just even one.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny, I had a vision of this before we had our call.
Well, that's
so
funny. That's me going, come on, get organized.
Yeah. So I was at work, and I walked into the Tree of Life, which is my favorite store.
Them too, yeah.
Yeah, so this is Top's Tree of Life. That's my clothes, a Tree of Life, and obviously the Tree of Life everywhere in my life. And anyway, so I saw this beautiful. I've written about it, but I'll tell you, I saw this beautiful lady. She had long brown hair. She looked like a goddess. And she was helping a customer. And so at the end, when she'd finished helping the customer, she was so kind to him. You can take notice of people that work in the industry when they're so nice and caring and stuff. And I just went up to her and I complimented her on her kindness and things like that. And so we just started chatting. And then I said to her, do you see 1111? And she said, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that, because I'm about to go and get a tattoo with 111 soon.
Oh man, I got so many people who've shown me their tattoos.
Yeah, and she was an 1111er. And then we like hugged and embraced, and then she became a member, and she's in Newcastle. But I've got millions of stories like that all the time.
That is setting off my throat chakra so bad.
So I had the same thing happen at the same time.
I think we should continue our interview series. Not right now, but another day. It sounds like lots of juicy things to discuss. But I hope, that people watching will find that this has answered a lot of their questions. And I think sometimes even just seeing people talking about it who are still fairly grounded, fairly sane, running businesses, running families, totally working with the world, it's a huge comfort. It's interesting. We may even move a few people through the stages just through having talked through them, because a lot of people who see 1111, they're very quick with sound. The fastest way for them to get information is ears. Often there's been, a lot of things they've seen, or a lot of shutdown or trauma, or I don't want to see ghost type stuff. So I feel that hopefully they'll listen to this and lots of things will click, and that they'll follow your podcast, and hopefully stay in our lives. So thank you all, you beautiful people who will be watching this.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate you being here on the planet, and please don't give up. Please don't give up. There's so many people who are wanting to know you and meet you and understand you and be with you still. We can totally do this together. So
absolutely.
Let's sign off. This is Sarah from sarahip.com, Facebook, The Numbers Queen, and Instagram, sarahip1111, with Jessica Reagan from the 1111 Movement on Facebook. Kookaburra is laughing at me. Perfect. So 1111, peace signs always to you, and thank you so much for the blessing of your company.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.